Paradox Rift is Pokemon's newest set and it releases on November 3rd. And that's a couple weeks away from now, but I figured today, let's take a walk through this set and let's take a look at all of the awesome new things that this set is bringing to Pokemon for the first time. Now, Paradox Rift is the 5th set in Scarlet and Violet, but it is actually only the 4th mainline set because 151 was a holiday set. This, of course, means unlike 151, where we didn't have booster boxes or single sleeved packs, of course, with Paradox Rift, we're going to be getting both of those. And of course, the return of booster boxes is going to be awesome to open up again. I know a lot of people like picking up a booster box on release day, cracking it to see if they can hit any of those awesome secret illustration rares, and trust me, Paradox Rift is going to have a bunch of them. And of course, we'll be going over those in a little bit, but right now I think we need to talk about one of the main mechanics of this new set, and that of course is going to be the future and ancient type Pokemon. So very similarly to Single Strike and Rapid Strike Pokemon, we will be getting another series of Pokemon with kind of these tags under their name tag, and they're of course going to be the ancient type Pokemon and the Paradox Pokemon. And of course, if any of you actually played the mainline Scarlet and Violet games, you would know that these are pretty critical to the story, and depending on what version of the game you picked up, would have determined which kinds of Pokemon you saw in these games. Of course, if you picked up Pokemon Scarlet, you would have seen a bunch of ancient Pokemon like Roaring Moon, Screamtail, and a bunch of other ones. And if you were one who was more of a Miraidon fan and decided to go with Pokemon Violet, you would have seen more of the future type Pokemon like Iron Hands and Iron Valiant. Now, of course, all 4 of these Pokemon I just mentioned are going to be making their first time debut in Paradox Rift, and they will have a lot of awesome cards to go along with them. Of course, in this set, we're going to be getting the 2 mainline cards, which are going to be Iron Valiant EX along with Roaring Moon EX. Now, these 2 cards will be very interesting to see how they're played for sure, because I am interested to see how people end up making decks around these ones. I know the Roaring Moon card has a lot of interesting attacks on it and how that's going to play, and I know they're also rolling out a bunch of new TM and ancient booster cards to kind of play into this new ancient and future type Pokemon to kind of work as, I guess, similar to like Single Strike and Rapid Strike tool cards, if you guys even play the TCG and remember that from sets like Evolving Skies, Battle Styles, or even Fusion Strike. Now, of course, one of the main things that comes to this set is going to be the secret illustration rare artworks, and there is going to be a bunch of them. I'm pretty sure this set is going to come pretty close to Paldea Evolved in terms of how many cards they're going to have in it when that comes to special illustration cards. To start off, one of my favorite and definitely my biggest chase card from the set is going to be the Roaring Moon EX secret illustration card. Now, this card depicts him, as you're probably seeing on screen right now, him kind of in a jungle environment surrounded by a bunch of other ancient type Pokemon, which I think is really, really cool. I originally kind of expected this card to be a very similar artwork to maybe the Moltres from Chilling Reign, with kind of the wings in the kind of U shape, kind of, I guess, roaring outwards, Roaring Moon, I don't know, but I think the artwork they chose and went with was still a very, very nice one, and I'm super excited to try to get this card and add it to my collection. But of course, that's not all. We are also going to get a couple more secret illustration rares of Pokemon that are not really featured on the pack art, and those are going to be of Golisopod EX and then also of Altaria EX. Now, Altaria EX is very similar to the legendary birds cards that we just got in 151 with the Zapdos EX, where it's kind of the birds flying through the sky. Of course, this time it is going to be featuring a couple Swablues and then a really, really cool artwork of Altaria flying along with them. Now, this card I'm really excited for, as Altaria is definitely one of the more popular Pokemon I think they're printing in this set, so I could see this card being one of these chase cards for a lot of people in there, especially because the artwork is really cool, and there is also a Swablu artwork to kind of go along with it, similar to how they do these evolution line cards where they'll give the entire evolution line artworks and then a secret illustration rare at the very end, similar to the artworks in 151 where you could get the Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard to kind of finish it all off at the end there. I like that they're kind of sticking with that trend for Scarlet and Violet. I think it's a really cool thing to keep up with, and it makes collecting the set really cool as it's kind of cohesive with themselves, as you can kind of get cards that work together and it looks really nice in a binder. And sticking with that theme of cards that go with one another, we are also going to be getting a Goldengo EX card, which goes along with a Gimme Gold card that kind of stack on top of one another, very similar to like the Spidops and Torrentula card that we got in Scarlet and Violet base, where they'll actually stack one on top of the other and they look like a really nice long artwork. It's super, super cool. I'm sure I'm popping it on screen right now, but that is definitely going to be another big chase card to look out for the set. And I guess to name off a couple more ones, we're going to be getting a couple Terra type Pokemon like the Terra Mewtwo, the Terra Skeledirge, Terra Frostlass, and then the Terra Hoopa. So this is going to be 4 Terra type Pokemon, which I don't know if that's the most we've had in a set yet, but it is definitely a heavy amount, because I think the last one, Obsidian Flames, we only only had, I believe in Obsidian Flames we also did get 4, so I feel like this is kind of be the theme with these Scarlet and Violet sets, where we're gonna get 4 Terra type Pokemon, and maybe they'll just go all out and make like an entire Terra set, which I mean I wouldn't be opposed to. I think it's a really cool concept with a lot of these EXs being Terra and actually looking a little bit better than the regular ones. And one of the Terra Pokemon I actually completely missed out on is going to be the Terra water type Garchomp, which is going to have a nice SAR artwork there. It's looking really, really cool, kind of in the middle of a wave or a water cycle. I don't really know how to describe it, but it looks really, really cool, and I'm excited to try to get this one, as I mean everyone loves Garchomp. It is one of the coolest Pokemon from Gen 4, so we're gonna have to definitely look up for that when we open it up on the channel. And of course, I'll just round off with a couple more of the secret illustration artworks before I forget. We are going to get an Iron Valiant one, which looks pretty cool. I'm not the biggest Iron Valiant fan for me. I still think it's a really cool card, but definitely not my favorite. And of course, I think one of the biggest secret illustration works is going to always be the trainers, as it has been with these Scarlet and Violet sets. So Parasol Lady is looking like that might be our big one from this set. I'm sure there's a couple more that I'm just completely missing out on, but I think that one's going to be kind of the big, I hate to say it, but the kind of waifu card that people are going to be on the hunt for. It is a very, very cool card for sure, and I'm sure people will be excited to hunt after it. I kind of hope it's playable, because that would be honestly super awesome, but yeah, it's going to be a super nice one to hunt after for sure. And then following the main release weekend of Paradox Rift, we're going to be getting 2 collection boxes for sure, along with probably a bunch of other ones trickling out throughout the release of Paradox Rift, but the main 2 that I'm really excited for are going to be the Roaring Moon EX box, along with the Iron Valiant collection box. Now these are 2 nice ways to get the actual card from the set. Of course, it's going to be a promo, but it will have the same movesets on, so if you're looking to actually make a deck of it, I think it's a really easy and kind of affordable way to get some packs along with the actual desirable card you're looking for, in terms of, especially if you're trying to make a deck for it. I know for one, I'm definitely going to be trying to craft out some kind of Roaring Moon deck within like the first day of release, so I'm going to try to get my hands on as many of those cards as possible to see if we can actually craft that out. But of course, going before the release weekend, actually starting this weekend, as you guys are going to see this video on Friday, the pre-releases for Paradox Rift start this weekend. Now of course, I myself am actually not going to be attending any of these events, unfortunately, but I would love to know if you guys are actually going to go out to your local game shops and actually check it out. Maybe you can pull some awesome secret illustration artworks early, which is always one of the most fun things to do with these pre-release events. Of course, we didn't get one for 151 because it is a holiday set, but if you are able to go to your local game shops, I would love to know what you guys pull in the comments below. And I think the best way to kind of round this video out is talk about some cards that I'm actually looking forward to. And I think the card that I'm looking forward to the most, just for the playability aspect, is going to be the Jirachi right here. Now this card has an ability that basically stomps all damage counters from being placed by attacks to Pokemon on your bench. So if you are an actual player of the TCG, you know why this card is so incredibly useful, especially if you hate getting your bench line destroyed by a Sableye. It's going to be a huge card that's going to be played on a lot of decks. I'm excited to pick it up and see kind of how that shifts the meta away from Lost Box, or maybe it doesn't move it at all. I know I'm getting into some kind of technical Pokemon TCG terms, but I figured this video would be my first kind of chance to dive into the TCG aspect of it and talk about some more playable cards that I'm actually excited for. But yeah, I think the Jirachi would be super interesting. I think a lot of people are going to run it like a Manaphy, and I mean, you might see both in decks now to prevent that Radiant Greninja and Sableye from attacking your bench. And then I think the other card that I'm really excited about is going to be this Iron Hands EX right here. Now this card has an attack that basically allows you to take an extra prize card if your opponent is knocked out by damage from this Pokemon, which is kind of crazy when you're closing out a game and if you have a kind of heavy 2-prizer in the line and you take that out, instead of taking 2 prizes, you take out 3, and it could get a little confusing and pretty crazy. And I guess even if you're taking out like a VMAX, that's already 3 prizes, so it could be a 4-prize knockout potentially, and that's kind of a crazy card to run with these additional prize taking. But I am going to be really looking forward to seeing how people actually run this in a deck. I'm sure it'll be super excited to see kind of how people work this in, what kind of meta decks it ends up falling into. I could see Miraidon kind of picking it up like that, but yeah, I'm really excited for that card for sure. But I do think my favorite is obviously going to be Roaring Moon. I've been talking about this card since the inception of Scarlet and Violet, and I've been waiting for a card to come out featuring Roaring Moon, and of course, we're finally getting one, so I think I'm going to try to get all 3 of the artworks. If there's a full art one, which I'm sure there's going to be, the regular EX, and then the alternate art, because that's going to be pretty cool. Maybe they even do like a gold card for it, since typically the archetypes for the set they end up doing some gold cards for, like I believe in Paldea Evolved, we got the 3 starters. Obsidian Flames, we got Charizard, and obviously 151, we got Mew. So I wouldn't be surprised if we actually got a Roaring Moon, an Iron Valiant gold card. Maybe they've already been leaked and I haven't just seen them yet, but those are kind of my two predictions, I guess, for Paradox Rift. I think that those will be two that we're definitely gonna get. But anyways, guys, this has kind of been your unprofessional, comprehensive guide to Paradox Rift. If you are looking to pick some up, hopefully this video helped you understand what's coming in the set, what are some of the big chase cards, and some of the big playable cards if you are looking from the more playable aspect of it. But like I said again, Paradox Rift drops on November 3rd, and make sure to check out my channel, because I will be one of the first to get my hands on a booster box and open it up to see if I could personally pull some of those awesome cards. But anyways, guys, this has been another episode of Nate Collects, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.